How did they do it? Why did they do it? Riding and crashing and riding and winning and always faster and faster.
If you want an example of exactly how important tyres are in MotoGP, then Thailand's GP today was exactly that example. Marc Márquez stuck on 99 wins because of a puncture. Tyres dictating the pace at the front of the race. Tyres dictating the strategy of the race. And tyres deciding who was on the podium. And tyres ending Ducati's 88 race podium streak. Thailand wasn't just about outright speed, it was about survival. And survival on what was a hot track at Buriram today. Now, Marc Márquez, 99 and counting. Well, the number 21 was pretty significant because on lap 21 he got a puncture. And when he went up over the curb, the tyre even came off the rim. You know, the one good thing about this bad luck is the good luck. It didn't spit him off. It could have been a violent crash. Look, he was aware, I should say, of the tyre situation. So he went conservatively at the start. We saw every bike start on the medium rear, but he kind of lost the way, and of course he lost the entire race after the tyre let go. He couldn't live with the front group once they started pushing. Look, I saw on lap 8, he switched on, he was ready to go, and he was trying to pursue those guys in front of him. So it was a mature ride from Marc and very much the way he's going to approach this season. But it tells me one thing, it tells me that Ducati and Marc are going to keep managing. Even if they don't dominate, they're going to managing the season. He was riding not the track, but he was riding on the tyre. Now, a big question for me is Michelin. Do you think that Michelin has approached season 2026 correctly? You know, they ditched the decision to develop the brand new front tyre for 2026. We know Pirelli are coming in 27. But MotoGP racing has been affected over the last few seasons because of Michelin, the front tyre situation, the tyre pressure. And what we've seen is they have done little or no development on the tyres. So what did we see today? We saw the puncture for Marc Márquez. We saw Johan Mir's rear tyre splitting, delaminating, making the bike unrideable. And of course, we saw many riders trying to manage throughout the race the tyres and the tyres use. Look, riders were scared to press on early. Certainly Bez did, but he paid for it. And we've also seen the classic where riders let other riders pass so they can get in behind to raise the tyre pressure. So look, are we racing each other on the track, or are we racing the tyre construction limits that Michelin bring in their last season? Look, the story of the weekend, we can't really go past it, is Aprilia and Marco Bezzecchi. You know, it was a massive weekend for Bezzecchi. He was under pressure. He crashed 3 times on Saturday, and this was a great win today, over 5 seconds. It wasn't a wild Bez ride. It was a mature, controlled race, which is really important. He's the first Aprilia rider to take 3 wins in a row. And, you know, Aprilia had never even been on the podium in the Thailand GP before, and they finished with 4 of the top 5 finishes, and they broke Ducati's 88 race podium lockdown. That's seismic. That means for the last 88 races, there's always been a Ducati, but not today. Look, a little bit of an insight. I think Aprilia looked much better with the medium rear. We saw them on the softs yesterday, but the Ducati seemed to cook the tyre. Well, we saw Fernandez fade late, and look, Bez's tyre towards the end of the race, looking at it from what I could see, it looked shot. So not a universal problem, but definitely the Aprilia's quicker on the medium tyre. And I think they found something a little bit special on the load. It might be to do with the side aero. It might be a little bit to do with their front aero and how they flow the air through the bike. You know, it's really, really important that the steps they've made on aero and tyre usage. Now, Pecco Bagnaia and Ducati, look, Bagnaia finished. He hadn't finished the last 5 GPs. He ran in 9th. And really, he was the last proper Ducati, if I can say that. Pirro was 19th on the finish. But that's 88 races, like I said. Digia put it into 6th, so he was the top Ducati. Now, look, that's historic. You know, Thailand may well be remembered as the race where we started to see the first little cracks in the Ducati aura. You know, that's something we might want to look back and think about. Now, KTM, still no dry wins. Of course, Pedro Acosta got the sprint yesterday given to him. You know, Marc had to drop back. Pedro had a great weekend. He leaves this Grand Prix as the leader of the championship. He would have got long odds on that. And KTM, it showed how much they're going to miss him in 27. Look, he is demonstrating, as I have mentioned, a great mindset. It is the best mindset on the grid. Vinales finished in 16th. I think Jorge Lorenzo's got a little bit more work to do. Over in HRC, it was quiet, it was solid. Marini 10th, Zarco 11th, Mireia, perfect ride for 13th. I think that's a great rookie ride, not flashy, but stable. And as we see, Mir had to retire with the rear tyre. Look, good progress for Honda at this difficult track. Look, Yamaha, I've got to call out and say well done, Top Rack. Really good, similar pace to the other V4s. He had a quiet race. He ended up beating Jack Miller to the flag. He didn't implode. He had the crash in the sprint. And for me, that's success. I know it's all a little bit unseen, but he is now building a very good foundation for the base with Yamaha. Now, look, for me, quickly on the sprint, the controversy and the decision, I didn't like the timing with Marc and the decision with Acosta. Look, he had to drop back one position. Look, for me, what else could he do? Could he take the time penalty? Look, the incident, I'll leave that for you guys to debate, but I didn't like the timing of the penalty. It gave him no choice. And I'll give it to Pedro Acosta. He said he didn't beat Marc. But what precedent does it set for the season? This is a championship. It's a long one. And if people are going to get penalised for these sorts of things, then it's certainly, I hope, we get consistency. Now, the world feed. Look, every time I talk about the world feed, I get comments. I think they've got a little bit carried away with the Aprilia narrative. It's the first race, and I don't believe it's absolutely telling us everything. But let's bring it back to perspective and let's talk about what I'm saying. One race does not a championship make. Aprilia, look, they looked unstoppable here, but let's go to some different tracks. Let's put on some different non-heat resistant tyres. Let's see the track temperatures change, and let's see how the riders really start to go. Championships are about trends and they're not about moments. But look, what do you guys think? Has Thailand today shown us a little sneak view, a preview, if you like, of the 2026 season? And what about tyres? Do you think we've got bigger problem with tyres, both with the front that we know and maybe with the rear? So why not drop your comments down below and we can have a chat. I really hope you enjoyed the weekend. And if you've enjoyed today and the episode, why not give it a thumbs up? If you're new, why don't you subscribe or share this video around? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the race this weekend. I look forward to talking to you again real soon. Okay, bye for now.